Hello and welcome to the Life Burst Podcast. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Tiffany. Welcome to part 2 of Reunion Diva's best cards, in our opinion.
Yes. If you guys want, you can check out our first video where we went over the probably more niche cards, but probably are something you're going to want to think about. It also has a bunch of rules on there because this is a complicated set. And so it's got like, what are Rizonas? What are craft? What is under? What is attached? All that kind of junk.
Where the heck is my check zone?
Yeah. So we're not going to go over those types of things now that we got most of that out of the way. We're just going to talk about the cards that we think are good. I think they're generically just good cards that might have a lot of impact moving forward, especially like this GP coming up, as well as like just card stuff. We're basically just card stuff.
Because remember, we are the Life Burst Podcast, a Wixoss podcast that talks about all the Wixoss things and only the Wixoss things. So please subscribe.
Alright, so let's just jump into it.
Let's jump right back in.
Hey Tiffany, the first one out here is Sashay, or Sash? Sash? Sash. I'm gonna go with Sash.
Sasha? There's a part of me that wants to call her Sasha.
Sasha. Hey Sasha.
Like you would say Versace? You would say Sasha? It's more like an exhale.
How do you
pronounce it? How do you pronounce this Larig? Let us know in the comment section down below.
Well, I'm gonna go with Sashay just because that's what I've always said, but that's probably wrong. Sashay has, you read her, she's a level 3 center Elrig. She says, stop. That's about it. She just says stop a lot. So
why don't we actually read the cards? So this is Sashay Motir, Midnight Sun Emissary. It's a cool name, gotta admit.
Yeah.
Auto, once a turn. During your turn, when a white Signy enters your field, you may pay white, colorless. If you do, return target Signy on your opponent's field to its owner's hand. That is an expensive bounce.
It is.
Action.
But constant.
Yeah, I guess so. Action, once a turn, target white Signy on your field gets plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Action, once a game. During your opponent's next turn, your opponent gains constant, you cannot attack with Signy unless you pay 2.
That's 2 for each Signy, to be clear. She says stop. Hey, Sashay's into numerology, by the way. I don't know if that's relevant at all, but I just wanted to let you know she's into numerology. That's comments. The commenters like to leave me tidbits about the lore, and that's one of them here. She's into numerology. Hey, so she's this center Elrig that clearly is saying 2 things. One, please have a lot of white Signy, right? That's the first part you're getting.
Yeah.
And the second part is, I want to go kind of a little bit longer. Because she's just stopping your opponent from attacking you. Now, there's 2 different approaches for that kind of thing. You can either go more mid-range, or you can go more control. Either way works. Mid-range enjoys being aggressive while simultaneously being like, why don't you settle down over there for a little bit? And then the other way is she is very much more like control-y, where she's like, control doesn't want to get attacked at all. So they like that end game. Or that once per game. The plus 2,000 power is also kind of nice because you can take any 12k, turn it into 14k. That's above vanish effects, and also that white Signy will probably stick around an extra turn then, and that means, Exia is annoying, Remember's annoying, these types of things. And the balance is really expensive, but also costs white, which means, and you need white to do it.
Well,
it's really pointing.
3,
right.
2 of those are white.
Right. So either that, aside from that being expensive, which, let's be real, it is, you want a pretty white deck because it's asking for a lot of white there. Even the enter costing a lot of white, so it's not like a splash that you can do. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting Elrig in that front. This is one of our first Elrigs that are really like, no, just hold your horses, Nova did it arguably a little bit, but this is the first time where it's really dealing with Signy being like, no.
I have a question about this one, though. You said that her once a game means that your opponent has to pay 2 each time for a Signy?
Each Signy attack, yes.
That's not what it says, though.
It does.
No, it says you cannot attack with Signy unless you pay 2.
Correct.
The way that I interpret that is, if you're going to go into your attack phase, you have to pay 2, and then you can attack with Signy. It doesn't say every time your opponent attacks with the Signy, they must pay 2.
I guarantee you this is the way that it is, because this is what, if you go to the Japanese card site and you check the red text that says specifically about cards, it says each Signy needs to pay 2 to attack.
Okay.
So
that's just the once a game, though.
Yeah, worth mentioning, but it is something. She basically says the idea is, if you're playing white, you're probably bouncing a lot of cards into the opponent's hand, right? Even its abilities bounce. You probably don't have the enter to pay for it. So you're really basically saying, when you use this, you're like, you're not attacking with Signy this next turn. But that's not it. Tiffany, it's one of those ones that gets the Risona Craft Signy.
Oh, we got Rizonas.
So let's talk about those ones.
Let's talk about the Rizonas.
We've got Saturn, White Planet Queen, level 3 Risona with 12,000 power. Has the emerge conditions of you need to put 2 Signy from your hand and or enter zone into the trash. Its constant ability is during your turn, opponents can only have 2 Signy on the field. If there's already 3 Signy or more on your opponent's field, they must put one of those Signys into the trash until they have to.
Okay.
The second one, Tiffany, it's a full moon. What does a full moon do?
Shines bright.
No, shines bright like a diamond.
Full moon, white. I almost said white rabbit queen, which, you know,
she does look like a rabbit.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the flavor of it.
Rabbit in the moon.
Yeah, so this is full moon, white planet queen. Emerge conditions: put 3 Signy from your hand and or enter into your trash. Constant: during your opponent's turn, other Signy on your field gain shadow Signy. Enter: during your opponent's next turn, your opponent can only attack with Signy once during the Signy attack step, which means that their Signy can't attack multiple times.
Correct.
Yeah. What do you think? Which one are you leaning towards?
I think both have their good points, right?
Yeah.
I think Saturn is good when you need to just basically open a hole on the opponent's lane and get in some aggression. It's worth mentioning they put it in the trash, which means they don't get the enter from it. That goes with White's sort of like blocking, as well as, you know, Sachet's limiting Elrig or limiting Signy attack by taxing them. So Saturn's a more aggressive one, clearly.
Yeah.
White Moon is the more defensive one here, because it gives all of your opponent or all of your other Signy shadow, which is, you know, good. And then during your opponent's next turn, they can only attack with one Signy, right?
Well, no. They can only attack once. Your opponent can only attack with Signy once during the attack step. During the Signy attack step. Is that the same sort of...
It's only allowing you to attack with the Signy. Like, you're only getting one Signy is attacking.
Okay, see, I just find that language a little bit confusing.
Sure. Because
we don't say Signies.
Yeah.
Signy and the multiple Signy are the same word.
Right.
I find that a little ambiguous.
It is. I'll guarantee you the ruling. It is. You can only attack once.
I believe you.
So this is, again, putting... Sachet says, hey, you have to pay for all these attacks, and the opponent's going to probably be like, I don't have the enter to pay for it, so they only attack once. And then you put out Full Moon, you're like, you're only attacking once! And they're like, okay. And it's an enter effect, by the way. So it's not like they can just vanish the full moon and then call it a day. Like this, this exists.
When it hits the field.
Unlike II, you don't get paid back for these Signy. The Signy costs what they cost here, which is 2 enter or 3 enter and whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
that's really expensive given the bounce ability for Sasha as well. It's like, I mean, first of all, you need tons of white anyways just to grow, but then like you've got this additional like pay 3 to bounce, and if you're going to be running a mostly white deck, like white decks kind of run a little enter hungry. Yikes.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider. I don't know if this deck is particularly enter efficient, but who knows, maybe you just play afternoon tea show and call it a day. You know, like you have access to
Green.
these ways of being able to generate some enter.
Yeah.
Or generate some cards. You know, white is good at putting cards in its hand. You know, maybe you play blue instead, and you just get a bunch of card effects that way. Either way, this is a way to play longer game. It's a way to limit attacks. Wixoss doesn't have a lot of those. Wixoss, if anything, has a mono white problem right now with aggro. So this is not like, even if it's difficult to work, it might be that this is the meta where it works well.
All right. Yeah, I mean, the Rosonas are certainly going to make things interesting.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think that it's also interesting that the Rosonas that we're seeing, it's always like one is defense, one is offensive.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, maybe if you're a really defensive deck and you just need a little extra oomph, then with your Rosona you can go more offensive. But, yeah, give you some pivots to work with during the game.
Sure, certainly. I do have a question for you, Tiffany. It's the art question over here, being that look at full moon. Look at that rabbit's headband.
Yeah.
Is that wrong? Is that wrong that it's got the moon phases and then instead of the center it's not a circle, it's a star?
I mean, I'm not gonna say it's wrong. Because that's, you know, like, that headband could be totally up to interpretation. And maybe they had to change it because a crescent, circle, and then opposite crescent actually has a deeper meaning, which could be religious for some people. So it's possible that they changed it. But then again, they did give her a bunch of these like full circle discs throughout the rest of her outfit to imply the full phase of the moon. So
yeah, I think I just needed the art critique here for this.
I think it's gorgeous. I love it.
All right, moving on. Going to the next one, which is, speaking of stopping Signy from attacking, we have Rico.
New Rico! I'm so excited about Rico, like, unironically.
This set's been good to green.
It's been good.
I took me 11 sets to say it.
Our
and here it is.
Are being heard.
You got some good green cards here.
Let's talk about her. So this is your level 3 green Signy. Rico, Memoria, Phantom Queen, 12,000 power, constant. As long as this Signy is in the center Signy zone, it gets plus 3,000 power and gains as constant as long as there are 3 or more green cards in your enter zone. This Signy cannot be downed by your opponent's effects. It's a pretty big Signy. Like a 15k Signy that can't be downed.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Auto, it also has an auto. Auto, whenever the Signy attacks, if you have used a piece this turn, choose one of your opponent's Signy zones. During your opponent's next turn, your opponent cannot attack with the Signy in that zone. Which means that the Signy doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It just means that the zone says Signy's in the zone can't attack. Yeah. But it's not like saying that Signys can't exist in the zone.
Yeah. I think there's that token that you could put out that's got Tama like with under construction. The Signy zone's currently under construction.
No, that's used for a different ability. That's for when you're like actually shutting down a lane and getting rid of the Signy in it.
Right.
But this one is saying that like Signys can't attack.
Sure, I guess just use the Exia.
Yeah, you can use the Exia,
Exia thing.
Yeah, the Tama token of like, sorry, like under construction is pretty cute too.
Here's the dealio. You might be thinking, dude, green Exia, and you're wrong. It's not quite green Exia, because Exia is better. Exia allows you to choose the lane that's open and say, that one, and it closes it down. This doesn't quite do that. Now, that being said, if you ask a aggro player, do they like it when one of their lanes is closed down? They're going to say, no, I want to do 3 damage on the field every turn from my Signy attack. So they still don't like this card, arguably, which is good. It's still good versus aggro, don't get me wrong. It's just not as good as Exia is versus literally everything. However, it trades that from Exia to say, hey, you Machina Madoka assists, what do you want? What is, you can't stop this, and then you kill them. Because 15k means that Makima's not stopping that.
Sure.
Sans Pines. And Madoka is not tapping it down.
Why isn't Madoka tapping it down?
Because it can't be tapped down by the opponent's effects.
That's true. Yeah, it can't be tapped down if it's buffed like that. Yeah, the only thing I would say is that it's dependent on there being 3 or more green cards in your enter zone.
Yeah.
Which means that you're going to run a very heavy green deck.
Yeah.
Which we really haven't seen up until this point, but green hasn't gotten this much love up until this point.
No, I would say this is the first thing that's starting to pull you into being like, yeah, green could be a good color for me.
Good color, yeah. Now, I have a question.
Yes.
Would a guard count as a green card?
No.
Right, because it has multi-enter, which means that it can only be any color when it's being used for a cost.
Used for a cost, yeah.
But if it's in the trash, if it's in your hand, if it's
colorless.
In the enter zone, it's colorless until it's being used to pay for a cost.
Technically, it can be used to pay for a cost, but it is still colorless as the card itself is colorless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, I just wanted to clarify that. I'm excited. I'm going to play this one.
No, this is a good one. This is a good one. Crap. This is one of the ones that I've got to do the full screen for. Pew, there it is. Look at Umaru and Toalla.
Look at them!
Specifically made them hold hands for you, Tiffany.
Oh my god, they're so cute. This is like the special art. Like, this isn't the normal art. You got them with the one holding hands. Yeah. The other one, they're just like high-fiving.
Yeah, well, I've got the other one too. I just haven't gone to that.
No, this one's cuter. Look at
how
cute they are. They're in their like classic clothes.
Yes, they
like
are.
back when Umaru and Toalla were black and white respectively.
Yeah, correct. So, I don't think there's any way to talk about these cards really without talking about literally all 3 of the cards that need to be talked about.
Okay.
But let's try, guys. Okay. We're gonna try here. So, fusion. This is
fusion.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me take off the screen so everyone can see us do it. We're gonna do that. Fusion. Yeah. Okay. So
I wanna get into your frame.
All right, almost there. Almost there. Keep going. There you go. You're in. Okay. So that. Talking about Umaru, talking about Toalla, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here they're up on the screen. We're gonna go ahead and read them real quick. Umaru is a level 1 black. With the following abilities, it's got 3,000 power. Enter, put the top card of your deck into your trash. If it's Toalla, Memoria Fusion. You can put that card into the trash, from the trash into the play. Which means, yeah, sure, Hakkat that thing to the top and have fun. Your second action you can do is you can play black and white. If you do, you can put this Signy and a Toalla Fusion Memoria Ritual into their owner's trash. You can put target white or black Signy from your trash into your field. It's probably Oodles, by the way, guys. Just put it in perspective.
Spoilers.
Probably Oodles. But you can technically put any black or white Signy from your trash to the field. Pretty cool. Your constant ability is if this is under Oodles. We'll get to Oodles later. Then Oodles, when it attacks, can give target Signy negative 8,000 power till end of turn. Toalla. Tolla's a level 1 white Signy with 3,000 power. It's got a constant ability of if there's an Umaru on your field, the Umaru Fusion Memoria, this Signy and that Umaru both get 4,000 power. Hey, they turn into 7,000. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty nice.
It's pretty cool, and it's on your turn and the opponent's turn, so they're always 7,000.
Yeah, it's constant. Its
action abilities, you can pick this Signy and the Umaru. You can toss it into your trash. You can put a white or black Signy from your hand into the field. That would be a very weird reason to do that for literally anything other than Oodles. Constant ability is if you got this under Oodles, then whenever the Signy attacks, you can get a card from your trash to your hand.
It's pretty nice.
These cards are interesting. On their own, are they playable?
No.
And the answer is probably not.
No, they're not.
But they are a black and white level 1 Signy that theoretically, if you're playing the deck correctly, and you can, toss away certain Signy in your opening hand to make sure that you get the back with the mulligans and stuff, and you can dig a little hard on your first go around. There's a very good chance that you can get Umaru and Toalla out. Turn 1, 7,000 power. To level 2, level 1, 7,000 power at the beginning. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, we like some buff level 1s.
Umaru arguably can take any card from your trash to your play. I mean, yes, it's got to be a white or black card. That's pretty good in toolboxing. And white and black, let's see. Super Celestia Saber says white and black has a pretty good toolbox to use. So that is okay on its own too.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to say, hey, I'm going to play this on their own, and I'm going to bring back in the whole idea is I'm going to bring back Phalaris with this. I'd say that's fine, but it's not great.
How are you bringing that back with Umaru?
Because it says with you can put a towel and an Umaru.
Oh, I thought
into
you meant
your
just
trash.
Umaru on its own. And I was like, what are you talking about? The only thing that Umaru does on its own is that it puts the top card of your deck into your trash, and that's it. And then Towel doesn't do anything on its own.
So Oodles, if you're not playing with Oodles, probably not worth it. But if you are playing with Oodles, I think these cards are good enough on their own that they justify you playing them in a deck, period.
On their own together?
On their own together with the Oodles package.
With Oodles, yeah. Like, this is a whole package. Like, you think that the package is worth having?
Yeah. Okay. I think, like, if you were to say, hey, I want to play Towel and Umaru, and the whole reason is to make this powerful Oodles happen. I go, is Towel and Umaru good enough to play on their own that they justify also having the Oodles package in? And the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. 2 level 1 7,000 powers are average. That's an average thing to do. And because of that, if you're also saying it's average but it enables something really strong later down the line, then I'm like, okay, I'm on board. If these were bad, they were just straight up bad on their own. They didn't do anything, but then they fused together and made this Oodles thing happen, I probably wouldn't play them. But I think they're good enough on their own. If you're looking up to be a mid-range or control deck that's sort of walling up a little bit, and then being like, powerful, I think good.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Oodles then.
Yeah.
Since we've mentioned her enough. First of all, I love her. I think that she is one of the most, like, gorgeous Signies ever. I have her as my card sleeves. I love her. I think she's beautiful. Also, quick note about her name. I call her Oodles. You could also probably call her Uddles. You could also probably call her Ootaloo. I've heard it said all different ways, and they're probably all correct, so...
Aren't they technically all wrong because this is Cthulhu stuff and we're not able to pronounce it really?
No, technically they're all correct because you can't pronounce, like, Cthulian names properly.
Yeah, we don't have the correct metal scraping sounds in our
No, this isn't Phyrexian. No, this isn't Phyrexian. That actually is, like, something that I read about, what's it called? Lovecraft lore. Is that when you're talking, which the Ancient Surprise team is actually based off of, is that, like, you can't mispronounce their names because you can't pronounce them properly anyway, so just, like, do your best and it's fine. So I call her Oodles, because that is the cutest way to pronounce it for me. Now, Oodles, level 3 Signy, 15,000 power.
That's a lot
right
of power.
Off the bat.
A lot of power.
She is both Idle Tone and Mech-Tone Legacy. So she's Idle Tone Angel and Mech-Tone Legacy Tribal.
Correct.
She has both. Constant, this Signy can only be entered onto the field by the effects of Tawil Memoria Fusion Ritual or Umaru Memoria Fusion Ritual. Enter, put target Tawil Memoria Fusion Ritual or Umaru Memoria Fusion Ritual from your trash under this Signy. Enter, put target white or black Signy from your trash onto your field. Life Burst, add target Signy from your trash to your hand or put it onto your field. And she is both a black and white card.
Correct.
Which is cool for a level 3.
Actually, genuinely pretty good. Sometimes it's hard to fit the correct amount of black, or, like, you're splashing black and you don't have a ton, but this itself represents 8 black because you're playing 4 of the Umaru, 4 of this. So you end up with like 7 to 8 black cards. That is a splash.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Congrats. It's done. Sometimes you're playing this with the white splash. Sometimes you're playing a white center, but you really don't have a ton of white in it because you have a ton of black and maybe some blue.
Mm-hmm.
This allows you to multi-splash much easier.
I agree. I mean, especially with Umar being one color, Toalla being the other, and then Oodles being the split between the two, or rather the fusion between the two. It's really well balanced.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very balanced, condensed package.
Yeah. And the more swings you get with, I know this is totally normal, but the more swings you get with this, the more that you're able to really snowball your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing is 15k. It has a very likelihood of sticking around.
It's hard to deal with.
And you can bring back target white Signy with it, so you can bring back an Exia, for example, with it. So there are ways to basically make this really difficult and annoying to go away.
Yeah.
So
not to mention the abilities it gains from Umar or Toalla, depending on which card that you put underneath it. Yeah. So now you have a 15k that anytime it attacks, target Signy in your opponent's field gets -8, which will kill a lot of things. Or at least bring it down far enough that another effect can come into play, or
-3,000, -4,000.
Yeah, or it gets destroyed through battle a lot easier. Or whenever the Signy attacks, add target Signy with a guard from your trash to your hand. So every time Oodles, a 15k that's going to stay on the field for a long time, attacks, you just get a guard back. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Nova, because Nova was getting guards back like all the time, except it's in your deck. It's not in your Lyric deck, which means that you potentially could play this a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of longevity in this. It makes me very excited to see my Ancient Surprise girls.
They also picked a good life burst. The add target Signy from your trash to the hand or the field actually can help you get yourself into this combo scenario as well. It kind of ties into itself. Because it can get you back, if you're missing Toalla, gets you back Toalla. I think there's a couple lingering questions that we need to talk about. The first one is Super Celestia Saber. You want to play, if you were playing this, it's pretty much mandatory that you've got to play Super Celestia Saber with this. Yeah. Super Celestia Saber just feeds you the combo completely with very little drawback, so it is probably your number one thing that you're looking to do. Outside of that, you are also looking to see, you've got the Toalla option of bringing Oodles out, or you have the Umar option of bringing Oodles out. One of these is better than the other one, and I think Toalla is the better one, because basically all you need to do is have Toalla out and Umar out, and you put both of them into the trash from play, and you bring Oodles out. Umar you can do, and you only need you need to and you have to have Oodles in your hand, by the way, to be clear, with the Toalla.
To do Toalla, yeah.
Umar you can do it from the trash, but you need to pay Enter for it in order to do it. I think Enter is a little bit more sacred than cards in hand, in my opinion. So that's why I think Towella's the better way to go. It's not like you're not going to Umar sometimes. Sometimes you will.
It would be easier to Toalla, that's for sure, because Toalla would basically... Towalla's ability just costs 2 less. Yeah. I would say that having Oodles in your hand is a discount to the fusion. Yeah. Whereas, if, let's say, I don't know, you, turn 1, and you had to enter your Oodles, then, yeah, you'd have to get it back from the trash unless you drew another one, which is kind of annoying.
I will say, if you want to be a crazy person, you can chain these. You can do the Oodles. Do the Umar Toalla fusion dance. Wow. You got the Oodles back. The Oodles brings back a black or a white Signy. You can bring back one of the Umars or the Toallas, whichever one you're not using. And if you have another one to fill up the other lane, and you also have the second Umar. Yeah, just go for the second one. Bring back something else. It's ridiculous. I think that board is obscene and makes me want to vomit when I think about it.
Could you have multiple Oodles on the field?
There's technically nothing that says you can't have multiple Oodles on the field as long as they've entered the correct way.
I mean, if you put down 1 Oodles and you use her Enter ability to bring back an Umar or Toalla, and you have an extra one in hand, you could theoretically do this all over
again. Do it again, yeah.
And then, maybe, this is later in the game, and you can bring back, you have the Enter to bring it back the Umar way instead of the Toalla way.
Correct.
Now you got 2 Oodles on the field, and your opponent is very sad.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I would be annoyed. I'm gonna play this. I'm just gonna put it out there because these are the Ancient Surprise Girls. Oodles is here. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. Enough of Oodles. Enough. That one required some talk about because there's a lot happening there. What about Tama? We got blue Tama now.
We got Tama in every color.
Yeah, we got blue
except
Tama.
Green.
Justice for green. Tama Memoria Azor Angel is a baseball Tama. It is a level 1, 3000 power with the auto ability of during your turn, when another Angel Signy enters the field or your opponent discards a card to buy your effect, this Signy gets 4000 power till the end of your next opponent's turn. Right? So it does the whole keeps that 4000 power until your next
your
opponent's
next turn.
Yeah. If this was just an Angel payoff, it would be fine. The fact that it is in blue and it's asking to make your opponent discard a card, this thing is 7000 power if you're using it. So if you're in the market for a Toyuki, but in blue, this is it. This is good. This is a strong card. I don't know if you're in the market for that, but there are certainly some amount of blue decks that are like, especially blue-white decks, that just want to wall up.
I mean, yeah, it's, it's not every day that we get to see pumping for blue.
Yeah.
Usually that's something that you see in like red, green, white, whatever. Not really black at all, but certainly not blue. And you can see it here. And I think that's especially important that that's happening on a level 1. Because, kind of all of the colors at this point, except maybe green, have a really, really sturdy level 1 that can stay on the field for a long time, especially in white is where we see this the most often. So the fact that blue has this, and it's not exclusive to Angel Tribal, I think is actually pretty good. I think that this is a good option for blue if you maybe need defense until you can get into your late game a little easier. This pairs really well with Monoman.
Correct.
Pretty popular level 1 blue card.
And Angels, while not being necessarily the most competitive tribe in the world, I will remind everyone, Exia is an Angel, and so is Haniel. Both those cards, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Probably play those cards in those types of decks that you're also discarding things, or you want a buff level 1. I will point out too, there is a level 1 in green that it buffs up.
Oh, okay.
It's the Camel from set 0.
Oh yeah.
3 different classes in your.
Is that a giraffe?
Yeah, the giraffe. I think camel giraffe, whatever.
I think it is a giraffe, but yeah, I know which one you're talking about. But yeah, that one does buffs up. It's not very popular.
No.
Because green is not played widely enough for it to need a steady level 1
Absolutely
like that. Maybe in this next set we'll see more of that, but certainly I think that this is a nice little card for blue.
Yeah. Here's another card for blue.
H2O.
H2O. You guys like H2O. You've got H2O. I actually kind of like that one a lot. That's what we're doing for now. I'm amazed that you jumped on it before I did. I'm the one who normally does it.
I'm scrolling through these slides, like, as we're going through, and, like, as we're looking at Tama, I, like, just saw only the name, and that's where my brain went.
Because that's what it is. Its name is H2O.
It is called something else.
THO2.
O2.
Or whatever it is. Comment down below. What element is that? I don't know. I liked H2O.
It's not even correct now that I'm looking at it again.
Nope, it's H2O for me.
H2O, but it's not. It's like those.
It's a level 1.
What are those?
What are those? It's those. Great. Good to know
I'm
that.
So dumb. Please subscribe.
Good to know that our atoms from here on out will still never be called what they actually are.
I should really just learn the periodic table and then school you one of these.
I'm out of the high school. I don't want to do it.
Nah. She reminds me of Miku, like the way that she's dressed.
What does those do? Tell me about those.
What are those? THO2 is a level 1 Signy with 3000 power. Enter ability, discard a card, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal an Atom Signy from among them and add it to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order.
Yep.
So it's got some Adam's support.
Adam's tutor.
Adam's
I don't
tutor.
think they needed more.
Probably not.
But here they are, sitting with more support. Good for Adams. The funny thing is, I don't even know.
He says we're gonna make Adams work.
I don't even know if Adams wants this. That's the crazy thing. Is Adams has so many good cards that they might be like, I don't know, lots are tight right now. Pass. Yeah.
I mean,
I get to your H2O. It gets you your H2 to make your H2O combo work.
It also finds you things that you can discard to pay for costs.
That's correct. It also gets you H2O, like insurance H2O gets its life burst because it wants to put an atom on the field. Right? Like, it gets you BP.
But do you want to discard a card to get an atom?
Probably, sometimes.
Because atoms already discard cards from their hand to help pay costs.
Yeah, but you get the card back, right? Because you get the atom.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I think that's true. It's better to have an atom card in your hand in an Adam's deck than no atom card.
Right. You might discard a random drain.
Yeah.
And then be like, I need this atom. This random drain ain't gonna do it for me.
Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense.
So, it's good. I'm not gonna go into about atoms anymore. Atoms, everyone knows, won the last GP. Moving along.
Wait, did it?
It did, yeah. First and second place for Adams decks. Last GP.
Was it like Esper Adams?
No, it's just Adams.
Where was I at the time?
Plain Cube. You were playing Hellfire's Cube at the time.
That's true, I was.
You were like, do you want my support? I was like, nope.
I went to stay out of your way. Alright, moving on. We've got Amoeba, natural bacteria. She's so pretty. Look at how shiny she is.
She's shiny for a reason. She's an amoeba.
Yeah. Great. We love squelching and Wixoss.
She squelches.
Alright, here is your blue level 1 Amoeba Signy. She's 2,000 power. She's a little one. Auto, when this card is discarded by your opponent's effect, if you have 2 or less cards in your hand, draw a card. Not bad. Kind of saves you from not having any cards in hand, which would be blue's worst case scenario.
That is exactly what it's for.
And then we've got the Hanyo Life Burst, which is always welcome.
Always welcome.
So that's the look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal a Signy from among them and add it to your hand or put it onto your field. Put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Simple, short, to the point.
This card will be used probably moving forward in decks that want to go long game and need some long game against other long game decks as a way to be like, no, I'm winning card advantage. No, I'm winning card advantage.
Is that how control players sound?
Yeah, and that was me at the GP, so clear.
Alright, so you're really making fun of yourself.
Yeah, it's just like all it's gonna be there is a 2 of it or 3 of them in these long game control decks that are that basically this is just enter and a pretty good life burst if it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
If on against the control deck, it can be like, no, I'm gonna be the one with 7 cards in hands, not you. You only get 2, or whatever it is.
And to that, Amiba says, actually, it's 3.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what it's there for. Is just to protect your hand.
She's so cute. All right, moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
Do we know
Boff. Oh man, I didn't. Name? Yeah. It's Barbarian.
Is it Barbarian?
Yeah, it's Barbarian.
Is it Barbarian?
It's Barbarian. Barbarian.
Barbarian.
I realized that for some reason I didn't have the correct. I don't have the Japanese. It's just the Japanese on this. Okay. But I can tell you what it does verbatim because I played it a lot today at Sealed.
All right. Let us show it off.
All right. So it is a level 1 Signy. It's a Brave type. Look at that. And I just look at that in my head.
Oh, that's impressive.
Not Terra Beast because that's a person with all that skin. It's got a million abs, and outside of the million abs, it also is a level 1 with 3,000 power. It has constant ability. This Signy can only attack once. Mm-hmm. And that's because you can play a green, and if you do, and the Signy in front of it is 3,000 power or less, it gains Lancer.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the answer to what everyone was asking for. Not quite, because you still have to pay.
Lancer on demand.
Yeah, you still have to pay green for it, which doesn't make it quite Ramel, you know? It's not quite there yet.
I mean, it would be better if it was a colorless cost. I'll agree. Just to make it fair with the other abilities for other cards.
I agree.
But I'm not going to look at Gift Horse in the mouth.
No.
Especially when the Gift Horse has 8 abs.
Yeah, and will beat the shit out of you. To be clear here, she killed that bear.
Yeah.
Is that a koala? I think it's a koala. Anytime I look at it, I think if it's a koala.
I feel like it's a koala as well. Because it's on her back, but it's not colored like a koala.
Yeah, I just think it's a koala.
Maybe. Let us know in the comment section down below.
What animal did Barbarian kill?
Is it a bear or is it a koala? Let us know.
Here's the thing. Green has always had to be this sort of like mid-range attrition deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only thing Green had going for it was intercharging and getting some amount of card filtering, like back to its hands, right? Stuff like Energy Door and stuff. It's never really been able to be attacky. With Rico and with Barbarian, it has the ability to do that now. Like, Rico can attack and says, you can't stop me, assist Elrigs, and attacks through, which is great. But this gives green decks actually the ability to punch through for some damage.
And on, like, potentially your first turn if you're going second.
Yeah.
Because the likelihood that the Signy in front of this one is going to be in that 3,000 power range is pretty high, and you'll have the green enter for this by then.
I mean,
or at least I hope you will.
Between this card, Parajulius, Osagetsune, whatever we pronounce that with. I always pronounce it as Osagetsune.
I think it's Osagetsune.
Yeah, that one. And Midoriko, Chirin. You've got cards now.
You've got cards
the spell that theoretically intercharges you if you need that. You know, like, you've got...
The 7 lights?
Yeah, 7 lights. You've got...
We're starting to get a
got a core.
Deck.
Yeah, you got a core there.
Yeah.
So this kind of goes to that. I know.
It's so exciting.
So yeah, you can play aggro green now. And you know what? You pair it with red, get yourself some Lancelots, pair it with black, get yourself Caesars. And our charge works well with Caesar because then you can have 7 in the trash. You've got Assassin that you can attack through on a level 2. You've got Deus coming up. That's going to be also a way to attack. You can do it. You can play a green aggressive deck now. That didn't exist before this very moment, but now it does.
Because you know I like aggro and you know I like green. When I want to make a deck work for me, I will make Andrew make the deck work for me.
Sure.
Because Andrew's my deck builder. All right, shall we move on?
Yeah.
All right, coming in, we've got Deus.
Yep, this is our last one.
Our last one. All right, so we've got our level 2 Black Signy, Deus Memoria, high armed. We've got an armed Signy. She's 5,000 power, and she has the Enter ability. I'm going to read the Enter ability first. She has the Enter ability. Put up to 2 cards from your hand under this Signy. So you got 2 cards from your hand going under Deus.
Up to. You can put 1, you can put 0.
That's true. Thank you. Auto, at the beginning of your attack phase, put any number of cards underneath this Signy into their owner's trash. Target Signy on your opponent's field gets minus 3,000 power for each card put into the trash this way until end of turn. Yeah,
for constructed, you're probably only putting 1 card under this and killing a 3,000 with it, but it's a free 3,000 kill.
Yeah,
you know?
I think so. I mean, especially if, like, you maybe had, like, a dud card in your hand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, let's say you've got, like, a rise Signy that you can't rise on anything, or, like, a spell that you can't pay for, or, like, you can't pay for it right away. It's just, like, taking up space in your hand. Then this is a pretty good way to, like, still get some use out of those cards.
Full agree, yeah.
And let's see, now you can put up to, 2 on when it's first onto the field, so you can get up to minus 6.
Or and
for a single Signy.
Yeah, or you could do 2, and you could, if you're confident this will live until next turn, You can do remove 1, -3,000, and then next turn, remove 1, -3,000.
Oh, that's true too. Is there a way to put more cards underneath it past its enter ability?
Yeah, there's cards that tuck themselves under
Mm-hmm.
Signy. I haven't put any of them on here because they're not particularly good. But yes.
It's a thing.
The answer is yes.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I actually do like this one. Because it takes cards from your hand instead of you having to get them somewhere else. And if you're playing black, you're probably getting cards from somewhere. Like black likes getting cards mainly from the trash.
Yep.
So it's not too hard for you to get cards that you don't mind putting up under a Signy from your trash into your hand. Not that this would be your sole reason to do it, but I'm just saying that black typically does not lack cards in their hand.
Right.
So, or if you're playing even like stuff like Atoms, which is like another kind of like black-blue deck, you want cards to be in your hand.
Yeah. The other thing to note is with this card is being a pretty efficient way to kill things at level 2 is kind of important for a swath of decks. Aggro decks like them because it allows them to play on curve while simultaneously still opening lanes. Control decks and mid-range decks actually like that as well because if one problem you might be having as a control player is if you play too many level 3 open lanes, you get into a scenario where you can only deal at most 2 damage plus your L-Rig attack. Let's assume they are able to constantly recur guards. In the late game, you can only do 2 damage on the field. That's not going to be enough for you to win the game. So having access to level 1s and level 2s for control that can potentially punch in a damage can be pretty big game because it allows them to then have ways to actually deal full field damage should they need to be forced to do that. It's like a do or die situation.
Yeah.
So that's why Deus is pretty good, and I think you'll see quite a bit of Deus moving forward.
Yeah, I think so too. I love the lighting on this card, by the way.
Card was a powerhouse. Really let me put it out. This card and Barbarian, powerhouses in Sealed. They were so good. There was never a time they were bad in Sealed.
I mean, going back to what I said, like sometimes you just get like total duds in your hand that like don't have an immediate use, and like you need to try and like open up lanes. It's a good way to do it. I think so.
Well, Tiffany, that finishes our second half of the reviews.
We did it, and you got through it with us.
I know it took a little while to get through both of these.
It did. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. This is a full charged reunion.
Complicated set. Plus, I think it actually has a fair amount of power in it. So
I think so too.
Worth talking about these cards.
Yeah, there's green's getting a lot of support. You're getting a lot of really cool things happening with black and white with the Toalla fusions. Red's getting cool stuff. Black's getting cool stuff. Like this is a real new set that we're getting. I don't know.
Sure.
It's just
full of some cards that are niche and people are gonna love them. Full of some powerhouses, people are gonna like those.
There's gonna be some things that people are gonna like. What is it called when you build a deck against something popular in the meta?
Counter meta.
Yeah, people are going to counter meta, or against some of the stuff in this. But let us know what you think in the comments section down below. Are there any cards that you think that we missed, or maybe we misinterpreted them? Let us know, and we'll talk about it in the next podcast.
And as always, I hope you flip a life burst. Bye, guys.
Bye.